Hi, I'm Terry Kolath. I'm here today with Ray Boyce of Rosemont. We're talking about another series on Shakespeare. Another time, Ray Boyce has agreed to do a Shakespeare series. This time we're calling it Salute to Shakespeare 2018. And today we're here to talk about the introductory class and a little bit about the whole series. Thank you so much for joining me, Ray.
Nice to be here.
I'm so glad, and many people are so glad, that you decided to give us another round of Shakespeare. And I love the way you do it. Why mess with a good thing? It's worked every time, right?
Absolutely.
The introduction and then the 4 different genre. And this time you have a rather unique wrap-up for your 6th session, which you do every single time you do it, but this time's a little bit different. So should we start with the end? How are you going to end this?
Well, many of you know that Jackie is a trained coloratura soprano in her own little career, and does a lot of singing here at Shell Point. And at some point in the last couple of years, I came to appreciate the music that's found in Shakespeare's plays. One authority estimates there are over 160 songs in the plays.
Amazing.
Unfortunately, the music, most of the music, almost entirely all of the music for those songs has disappeared. But various composers over the centuries have written new settings for the verse found in the plays. So it's become quite a specialty in itself, and it's a wonderful part of the plays and the whole Shakespeare saga. So I thought it would be fun this year to focus on that as the closing and give recognition to song. And thought that Jackie, she finally agreed after various enticements to agree to sing 6 of the songs. Wow. And then we lured Randy Woods of the Village Church to accompany her. So it should be quite an event and a lot of fun. And I think everybody. I think she's also going to throw in an opera, an aria from one of the Shakespearean operas too. So it should be a lot of fun, and that'll be a totally wonderful ending to what I hope will be a great season.
And let's talk about the totally wonderful beginning, because the opening session really sets the stage. Not everybody has had an opportunity to attend your Shakespeare series in the past. So give us a little idea of an overview, which is what your first class is going to be.
Right, Terry. Well, what we tried to do in the opening, recognizing the fact that we have had new people coming into Shell Point. We have first-timers. Some people who are coming are going to try it, and I say to them, try it, you might like it. Right. You might not like me, but you might like the Bard's works. We do show film clips and as well as do readings, and so we try in the introduction to set the stage, talk a little bit about various aspects of the time and place in which the plays were written and the competitiveness of theater at that time in the Elizabethan period, some of the various factors facing playwrights at that time. Lots of issues were popping up, lots of world development issues were occurring. So we try to touch on it, in general, give a context in which Mr. Shakespeare wrote his plays and the way they were presented at primarily the Globe and then the Blackfriars Theatre in England, and try to give an insight into that might give our students an appreciation of the background of the plays. And then we introduce the concept of the 4 genres of the plays, the comedies, the tragedies, the romance, and the histories, and we kind of define each of those or what we should look for in the plays, and then we kind of give a little brief synopsis of each of the plays, and then we start the following classes on each of the 4 plays that we've chosen for this year.
And so you don't want to miss this if you can at all make it, because first of all, the times he lived were fabulous, and I love how you share what was going on in the rest of the world. What an eye-opener. Yeah. When you think this man was writing when these things were going on in the world, and we still use so many of his phrases. Yeah. It's just incredible.
Well, that's the other thing we do. We try to focus on about 20 different topics that relate to this whole issue of the context, and included that is the language that he created, words that he created, expressions that he created, and people are totally surprised, many of the students are totally surprised by the extent of his contributions to the language. So it's a lot of fun, and I think it hopefully gives a little key as to what's going to happen in each of the 4 plays, in each of the 4 genres.
And as you go through this with us, we're like, oh my gosh, that's where that came from?
Yeah.
Oh my, and we still say that, and we still think of people in terms, Shakespearean terms.
Right.
It's fabulous. So briefly, how did you get started in this? Was it a beginning of lifelong learning for you after your career, or had you always been interested?
Well, I think I've always been interested, but like I was at work through my career, I was involved indirectly in theater, raising money for theaters. I was a chairman of a theater fund in New York. So I always going to Shakespeare, and always wanted in retirement to spend more time on it. And after I started retirement and I found out I was the world's worst golfer, I decided I have to find a substitute for golf. And,
Lucky for us, huh?
started to go to England for studies at Oxford University and Merton College and other universities, and then eventually landed at the Shakespeare program at Merton, and I've gone 5 times now. So by this point, I should know a little bit about this, although I still make sure I book myself as a student, as a wannabe student. I am far from expert. Believe me, there are some people in the classes who know a lot more than I do, which is fun because I learn, we all learn, and we have a lot of fun. I think a lot of people really have had a lot of fun doing this. So I got hooked on it to some extent. I think there is a thing known as the Shakespeare virus, and I picked it up somewhere along the way, and so far it's held up with me. It's wonderful.
That is fabulous. And to me, the epitome of lifelong learning and the Academy of Lifelong Learning. Someone has an interest, they pursue it, and then they generously share it. Fabulous. Well, you can take advantage of this lifelong learning opportunity with someone who has a passion for Shakespeare, and I think that's going to be contagious. Join us.